Thanks for locking in with 77 Flavors of Chicago. We're your hosts, Dario.
And I'm Sarah, and I hope you're ready to learn with us.
Hey, it's still Black History Month, and we talking to you about Vivian G. Harsh. Kind of revisiting. We'll explain later. But welcome. How you doing? Very good.
So happy to hear that.
Yeah. I'm glad y'all doing well.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm really happy because I asked last week if people listen to this part or not, and people said they listen to this part.
Good. Yeah. Hey, we rocking with you.
Okay.
Thank you for listening to this part. And the fact that you listen to the shenanigans and shit like that, that means a lot.
I hope it makes you feel like you know us better.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. You probably
know too much.
Form opinions. No. somebody,
Maybe you know too much.
Yeah, no, it's all good. But I'm doing great, thank you.
First lip smack.
Oh, first not ask me how my day is going.
How are you doing?
Hey, I'm great. Y'all, we got our dream setup. Well, we got my dream setup that I'm excited about. And Campbell is back to the shits. What has been on what?
He's eating something off the floor.
Campbell, what?
Just grab it.
What is it? Hold on.
It's like a piece of
Keep
paper.
talking. So.
Yeah. What I was going to talk about is this week we went to Anna Deshawn, who's a friend of ours, and also another she hosts her own podcast, a couple podcasts actually on the, and she owns an app that kind of is a place for Black and Brown podcasts to exist. But she had the first podcast salon, and at this location in South Shore, and it was so fun.
Yeah, it was. It was a lot of fun. It was for it to be the first one.
Yeah,
it was packed in that bad boy.
It was so cool.
Yeah, I mean, and what an honor to be the first one
and
kind of be talking about our podcast and putting people on to what we do.
Yeah,
and
we could have talked for like 5 hours.
At least. If y'all are listening to this first one, the first one after that, hey, welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, today we kind of doing a rerun, but again,
we'll
get
know.
Yeah, right. You wouldn't know because you didn't. You just new to the podcast. What I was going to say, I'm really happy about is y'all. We got my favorite dream setup for home theater this weekend. Record player, Baron Wilkins speakers. If y'all know what that is, it's good speakers, but. Went to Apt for the first time.
That place is insane.
Insane. Apt is crazy.
It's like its own shopping mall.
By far, new favorite place.
Yeah.
By far.
And it's a lot of money to be your favorite place.
Yeah. I mean, look.
You better find
if B&H was around, I would be. It's either that or this. You know what I'm saying?
Why is everything you like thousands of dollars?
Hey, I love expensive things.
Well, speaking of that, please share this episode with someone you love ahead of time so you don't forget. Okay.
Anyway, we've been listening to records too.
Yeah,
a lot.
We went to Hyde Park Records, which was they have
tons of albums, tons of records.
Yeah.
I mean,
thousands.
Yes, in boxes that they ain't even open yet.
Yeah.
Wow.
We got 8 records from there.
Sure did. We got
records
some classics.
Are expensive.
They are, but that's because they trendy now.
There's some that are like a couple dollars here and there, but there's some that's like $40. I'm like,
if it's, let's see, when did they start coming back? Probably like 15 years ago. Like 15 years ago, they if it's older than 15 years, that shit need to be $5. Anything new, I could see you trying to make money off it because it's a profit now.
Well,
but
I mean, they buy it at a certain price.
I know.
You gotta add margin to that.
I'm just talking about them old shits, man. Like the old stuff is just out here. You know what I'm saying?
True.
The old stuff old. It just got new life. Well, that's gonna be us, when this shit die out again, and then we could be selling that shit. Just talking about, what can I get for this? No, but I'm loving it. We've been zoning out.
I know, it's so fun. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. What else new on your blog?
You girl killing it in art class.
Yeah.
Yeah. We started. We're doing watercolors and stuff. It's a lot of fun. If you guys didn't know, the Chicago Park District, they don't know we exist, so don't even worry about us making money off this.
Man, please. Yeah,
but you can sign up for these classes at your local park, cultural center thing, and you could do things from painting to ceramics to stained glass to workouts. Some of the stuff is free.
Yeah.
Especially if you have kids, there's a ton of free kid stuff, and the kids stuff is usually $20, $30.
This dude, this dog, boy,
Campbell's playing with the pillow.
He's
pushing it out of the way. But I love it as a resource. I try to use as much, these like public resources as much as I possibly can because I want them to stay,
Right.
And I was talking to someone the other day that was like, do you buy books? I was like, no, I just check them out from the library. And they're like, yeah, but sometimes the wait is so long. I'm like, I've never waited more than a week for a book. And the more people request the books, the more
they get them in stock.
Right. Then they order them. And that's how libraries stay alive.
That's how economies work.
Right. Supply and demand.
You know what I mean? Like,
but yeah, I like to support these local systems in place, in a very socialist way. And so, yeah, I mean, I'd rather pay $130 for an 8-week ceramics class than pay $500.
And you getting a craft out of it. You know what I'm saying?
And it's a small class. It's only like 5 people.
Yeah.
So support your local parks.
Chicago got a lot of amenities.
We're very lucky.
And speaking of that, I was in San Fran this week, and look, I know every city different. You know what I mean? I'm by no means do I want to bash cities, okay? But we are really blessed here in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't understand how blessed we really are with food, with culture, transit things. Well, transit still, because
in comparison with other cities,
right. You know what I mean?
In the U.S.,
right. So, I mean, it's always that experience, and I had a good time in San Fran. I had a very good time, but it's just like I was texting you, simple food, like, man, our food just is good, and like things to do. Chicago is popping everywhere at all times of the year. It is things going on, and like
all the time.
It's easy to take that for granted when you hear and you don't get out of this place because you got everything you need here.
Yeah.
Then as soon as you go to another place, you're like, damn, they ain't got that. They ain't got that. I can't do this now, or like I gotta wait till the morning, or I gotta do.
Right. The town where I went to college, the buses stopped running at 9 p.m.
That's wild as hell. So you had to be in
and
the
there
crib.
was only a couple buses.
And were the Ubers there?
Well, when I went to college, Uber didn't exist.
Damn, you that old too?
Wow.
Look at you. See, you be sliding on me.
We had
you
taxis.
Be sliding on me.
We had taxis though.
So did we.
You could take a taxi.
Yeah, we did.
And there was for people that went to I don't even need to say where I went to school. It's in Illinois, and you'll know by this if you went to the same school. The street where there were the bars, you would take the bus to the bar or the taxi, and then at the end of the night at 3 a.m. there was a shuttle bus because all the bars. No. Oh. It took you to the next town over that had the only open place, which was a strip club.
Oh wow!
And so
further away from you.
Either people were taking taxis home at 3 a.m, or they were taking the shuttle to the strip club.
That's wow.
Yeah,
that's wow.
I never went to the strip club personally, but I know a lot of people that most people did.
Yeah, you said they was up in that batch. You know what I mean?
They were.
That's wild. Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of strip clubs,
our transition. Hey, it's still Black History Month, and we gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about Black History Month. And so we have been mentioning this month that we were gonna re-air the Vivian G. Harsh episode from 2 years ago, April 10th, 2023.
Yep.
And
was that Washington Park?
That was Washington Park, Heights.
Washington
Heights. Yeah. So, damn, I hear it now.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna re-air that in its entirety because it's really cool. If you're not familiar with Vivian G. Harsh, let me put you on game. Vivian G. Harsh is a Chicagoan. She was born
a legend.
She was born 1890, right here, Sweet Home Chicago, and she is credited with being the first Black African American woman librarian in Chicago history.
At the Chicago Public Library.
Yeah. And here is something really cool and really, really timely. She started her then, at that time, 34-year run, February 26th.
Oh, damn.
1924. So we
almost
are 101 years. It's 101 years since she became the first Black woman librarian. And since this is airing on Monday, February 24th, we only 2 days before that anniversary. So that's a little bit history.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah.
Vivian.
But what she was really, really known for, and you're going to hear about it, so I don't want to give away too much, but she has a collection of Black American literature and stories and things like that in the collection. She collected it, right? And it was the largest now in Chicago, now that we kind of took over after her legacy. It's the largest in the Midwest and in the country.
Yeah.
So really dope. And you can go see a lot of things. I'm not going to tell you what we saw in this episode. You'll hear it in a second, but very cool. And as the closeout to Black History Month, don't want to get into it, but like with education being on the fritz right now.
Yeah, it's super important.
It's important to preserve history and this education.
Once again, it's really important for you to support your library that has this collection and these archives, because the way you want to make sure that these libraries are able to keep these archives and collections in stock. So please request these documents and go and look at them and use them for your research, even just to see them, because it's part of your history. So why wouldn't you want to see some of the coolest shit that ever happened in Chicago?
Why wouldn't you?
But for free. You just need your ID.
Yeah.
And if you get a library card, if you don't have one, you can get it right there when you come in, and it takes 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So
you got to go.
Please enjoy this episode. We loved it. Our guest was phenomenal and super generous with her time, and we just had such a wonderful time. I can't wait to go back. But this episode originally aired
April 10th, 2023. Enjoy. Hey. We back again.
We still didn't go anywhere.
We definitely didn't go anywhere. This is some fun little stats here, y'all. We are 2 episodes into our season 6, right? We do them every quarter. So this is episode 2 of season 6, but this is also episode 109, almost at 110. And y'all, this week we are bound to hit 100,000 downloads. Thank you all for doing that for us and listening, subscribing to us on this platform. Honestly, couldn't be here without y'all. So thank you. That's huge for us. What you think about that? You have no thoughts?
I mean, my thoughts is they could do better.
Nah, damn.
I'm just playing.
Damn.
No, I'm just playing. It's insane. We thought 0 people would listen, and now thousands of people listen. So
100,000 downloads. That's amazing. That's amazing. That's quite the.
There's literally thousands of you listening.
Yeah, right. That's crazy.
That is.
We ain't got no manager.
Wild.
We don't have no big company. Like nothing. No sponsor.
We broke. Nobody paying us. I'm just playing.
Shit. This is. I mean, not completely. You know what I mean?
No. I'm just playing.
But it's dope.
You don't have a full-time job, so clearly, this is working.
This is working out.
You know?
Man, 100,000. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Before we turn 2. We turn 2 next month, y'all. Yeah. Or 2 months from now, actually.
Yeah. I don't need to explain ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, this is dope. So that's how we're gonna start this episode out. This is a dope episode, y'all. This is a very dope episode. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Cool. Let's get it. 77 flavors.
It's Sarah.
And it's Dario.
And we traveled through all of Chicago's 77 community areas. We shared some great stories and took you to our favorite restaurants.
But you know what? There's more Chicago history and food to discover.
So join us as we connect you to the greatest city in the world.
You know why? Because this is 77 Flavors of Chicago. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah, buddy.
77 flavor of them things. 77 of them things.
We need a different name for when we get discovered and asked to do this around the world.
Yeah, right. Hey, look, y'all help us out. We've been trying to ponder this. We've
been trying to ponder this.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Think about it. You haven't heard the ponder is a word.
I know it is.
Yeah.
But we've been trying to think about it.
Yeah. We have been trying to. We've been thinking about it. We've been pondering.
There you go.
Look at you. Oh wait, somebody's like, damn.
Someone's like, you failing.
That was
You're
a good
trying
catch.
and failing to think about it.
Good catch. Touche.
I'm always going to be on your ass.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Clearly. That's
wow. Relax.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's too early for this. It's too early in the episode.
Is it?
People are listening to this at 6 in the morning, 6:30. They're going on their way to work.
Midnight. And got all these innuendos. Anyway, what was I talking about?
We've been pondering.
Oh, we've been pondering.
We've been trying to think about it. We've been trying to have thoughts. Dario's been attempting to think.
Yeah, right. This whole time. 109 episodes. I'm just now starting to think.
Yeah.
I've been thinking this whole time. But what should we call ourselves? 77 Flavors of Chicago in 7 continents?
No.
Okay.
We can't
That's why.
continue to be 77 Flavors of Chicago.
I mean, we could be like the 7. What would it be? I mean, because we struck fire with this title.
Yeah.
We struck fire.
You know, when the time is right, it'll come.
Right.
That's what she said.
let me get that to you because that was good.
That's what she said.
Thank you.
That was also that's what she said. Let me give it to you.
That's what she said.
Okay. All right. Okay.
This episode's already unhinged.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I don't know. You know what's crazy is like, you don't know what's like. We literally, our life changes like month to month,
Day to day, really, week to week. Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes we get emails and we're like,
oh shit!
for who?
Oh
For
shit!
us. So we're very grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dope. It's dope. It's dope. It's lit out here, y'all.
It's lit out here.
But that honestly, I can't get over for this to be where we cross over 100,000 this episode, y'all.
Yeah.
This episode.
We probably already
what?
nothing.
Yeah. This episode is dope. And I don't know. We talked about the Chicago Public Library, right? This is part of our, the new thing.
Well, right.
Right. You know what I mean? Like the second wave of the podcast.
Yeah.
CTA, travel, using our resources.
Public city resources.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And
city money, if they're trying to give it to us.
Hey, holla.
We'll take it.
holla.
We'll
We hit
take
it. Yep. Y'all get
my bank account number is now.
yeah, right. Routing.
Our W9 is in the link in our bio.
We can easily send that to you. But we use the public resources so that we can show that it is everybody can use it, right?
It's free.
It's free.
Well,
you know
not
what I mean?
CTA, but
Yeah,
the library is free.
CTA is affordable.
You know,
right? Just say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the library is like one of the coolest and most underutilized resources in the city, because it's literally not just books. Like, you can get so much from the library here in the city. It's kind of wild. Like, especially if you have kids or if you just find a child and then you just take them.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I don't. This is not sponsored by the public library, so they don't support this message.
Yeah.
Don't not abduct children.
Don't not. Look at you. You do it to me. You do it to me.
I said do not.
No, you said don't not. We can run it back.
Wow. You are such a hater.
I'm just saying, you do it to me.
Anyway.
Y'all. I gotta ask y'all.
But it's funny when I do it.
You salty. Anyway, keep on going.
I forgot my. Yeah. So like you can get things like free tickets to pretty much any museum in the city. You can
watch
free
movies.
classes. You can watch movies. They have a bunch of events. Like, every single local library has an event, and so there's probably a library near you. Unfortunately, not every community area has a library. Like, I learned that
not too many of them though.
Ravenswood doesn't have a library.
Not too many. It's not too many community neighborhoods there.
Yeah.
Not too many.
And so, like, you can go to free events. They have free homework help. They have like I said, mentioned free tickets. They have book clubs. They have authors come through and do readings. It's just such a cool resource that people do not utilize. There's IT classes. There's like help in resumes. They help you find jobs. Like, there's just so much. And every librarian we've encountered ever, even before this podcast, has just been so nice.
Yeah. So that kind of sets the tone of what we're going to be talking about right now. So this is kind of like twofold type of thing. We're talking about the museum, and then we got a special collection we're going to talk about, which we've talked about on the podcast before. But first, some flowers.
Museum.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry, not museum, but a collection that we'll be talking about. But some more flowers for the Chicago Public Library. If y'all don't know, that it is celebrating 150th anniversary. Yep. Let me give it to it. 150th anniversary of being around and being what it is. So here's the cool thing about the Chicago Public Library. If you all don't remember us talking about it, or if you just joined in, let me enlighten you again. The Public Library started after the Chicago fire and almost in part of the Chicago fire.
Right.
A real brief crust layer history here. You can go back and check out our episode that talks about it. But after the Chicago fire, a lot of books, a ton of books, were donated to Chicago from Europe. Yeah. Because they thought that people should be able to read and get access, and here's how we're going to give, make that happen. So England donated a ton of books to a burned down Chicago. And that is how we got started. Very, very, very brief overview. Yeah. And so here we are 150 years later, and Chicago Public Library still one of the best. Now, here's some fun stats about this, about Chicago Public Library. It's got over almost 6 million different volumes of things that you can check out from the Chicago Public Library, again, free. That makes it top 10 in the public libraries in the United States by volume, and 30th largest academic or public library in the United States by volume. Now, check it out. This is a crazy stat. The Chicago Public Library is the second largest library system in Chicago by volume. Huh? What? Here's what that means. The largest is the University of Chicago Library.
Oh,
yeah,
but that's not fair.
It is. I guess it is.
It's literally a fair comparison.
Yeah. But that's something interesting. I did not know.
That's interesting.
It's also the second largest public library system in the Midwest. Detroit is the largest. Detroit is the largest. Enough of those stats there, but that just gives you a pretty brief overview of why we're talking about the Chicago Public Library. Now, here's what we're talking about. We're going to take you on a brief history of the Vivian G. Harsh Research Collection, which is very, very dope. And if you don't know what that is, the Vivian G. Harsh Research Collection is the largest collection of African American history and literature in the Midwest.
Yep.
So, if you want to know about black folks in the Midwest, this is the place to be, right here in Chicago. But who is Vivian G. Harsh? Who is she?
Who is she?
Let's take you on a brief history of who she is. Vivian G. Harsh was born and raised here in Chicago, on the South Side. Throwback. And she basically was, she's noted as being like one of the Chicago Public Library's first black librarians, right? She also was the first, something else, we'll get to it. But she was noted as being one of the first, and it was in those times, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, in those times to be, a black librarian,
clearly nobody else was doing it.
We just got out of an era where they didn't even want us to read. You know what I mean?
Right. Well,
we're still in it, actually.
Yeah, right. I was gonna say it's still
happening. We at this point, the 20s. She was born in 1890.
Right.
2 years before the train systems.
Yeah.
But she was born in those times, and then we're talking the 20s. You got the Great Migration going on. This, that, and the other. So she was the first, right? And she took her position in 1924. 1924, she became a librarian. She did that job for 34 years.
That's wild.
Y'all, she passed away in 1958. I want y'all to just think about that. Me, Sarah, we always talk about these years are not far away. Granted, we're about 70 years away from that right now. You know what I mean?
But like a lot of our parents and grandparents are that age. My mom is 60, so my dad was
he was about to be born. He was 2 years later. Yeah. So actually she died 2 months before my dad was born. Which is absolutely crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's absolutely wild. But so she's born and bred here in Chicago, right? And a very integral part of our history here. And so while she was doing that, right, she took a job, and this is kind of brief here, but because we got nice dialogue about what the collection holds. She took a job over at the George Cleveland Hall Library branch in 1932. And the reason why that is significant is because when she was there, especially in the Bronzeville areas where she's from, when she was there, she made it a point. And again, I told you that a lot of black folks weren't reading. You were coming from the South.
Right.
She made it a point that when you came from the South, as a black person, you had to be better, right? And when you came inside of her library, you got to dress right.
Yep.
You had to look right. You had to be quiet. You had to be there and learn.
Right.
And when she was at the Hall Branch Library, she actually started a bunch of programs. She had a what was called the Special Negro Collection at the library, and that was a big research hub for a lot of people that came there. And as she was named, I skipped over this, she was named the director in 1932, right? Which is the highest position there. And she organized a bunch of different community programs for Black history clubs, literary studies, different forums, art exhibits, storytelling sessions, so on and so forth. So basically, she made it a place where Black people and everybody, because it was all inclusive for her, everybody could be there and learn and intake in that. Reading is fundamental. We've been saying that for decades now, centuries, and so that's what she did. And she worked with, a bunch of different people. I mean, Gwendolyn Brooks, Charlemagne Hill Rollins, which Langston Hughes. The list is extensive.
Right.
So how do we get to that collection? Well, what she started in her research, her research began. She would go down, south and in different parts of America, mainly south, grab some collection, ask people, hey, can I use this so that we can learn more, up here up north? And she started her collection because she knew that was important, right? She knew it was important.
Right.
But I'm not going to get into it, right? I'm not going to get into it. We had a whole conversation about it. And I'm actually done blabbing because this is I've been talking for a while.
Yeah, blobby blob blob.
I have been. But we went to the Vivian G. Harsh collection, which is located now in the Woodson branch of the Chicago Public Library over there in Washington Heights. Like I said, we talked about this.
Over there.
Yeah, over there in Washington Heights, east of Bronzeville. So, not Bronzeville, I'm sorry. What is Beverly, east of Beverly. So we went there and we researched the collection and oh my goodness, it was beautiful. It was wild. We spoke with Stacy Williams, who is an archivist that works there. Archivist. Is it archivist or archivist? You look
archive person.
You say let's take the easy road. Archivist, who actually works there and works hand in hand. So, without further ado, let's pass it over to that conversation.
Let's.
So right now we are here with Stacey Adams. Right now we are here.
That happened a lot in 7th grade. Real life.
Stacey Williams at the Vivian G. Harsh exhibit or research collection, and which we told you is the largest collection of African American literature and things. You know what I mean? Like, things. In the Midwest. So, Stacey, thank you for being here. You got some dope stuff.
Yeah. Well, thank you all so much for coming and for having the interest. And yes, as you pointed out, the Vivian Harsh Research Collection is the largest collection of Black history-related materials in the Midwest, kind of like a Schaumburg equivalent. And the head of that branch, or the head of that location, this collection was at the Hall Branch at the time, and the head of that location was Vivian G. Harsh. So these documents I have here, or the items that we've chosen, it's to me, they represent, I think, really important things about thought and intention and idea and how we are including different people in the process of literacy and scholarship and collective gathering, all of that great stuff. So here was a statement about the Hall Branch, how the Hall Branch was actually designed. And folks should know that the branch, which opened in 1932, opened as a response to the influx of migrants who were coming to Chicago from places all over the South. And so Vivian Harsh, who was working at CPL at the time, she said, there's obviously a great need here, and there should be a branch. Also a local philanthropist, George Hall, also felt that, and so they worked. There was a big collaborative working together with CPL and with George Hall and with the Rosenwald family in order to purchase the land that the Hall branch now sits on in Bronzeville, and then staff that. Vivian Harsh was Chicago Public Library's first black library manager, branch manager, and she in turn hired Charlamagne Hill Rollins, who was Chicago Public Library's first black children's librarian. So this document here, it just talks about a rundown of what the building looked like. And so again, when you think about who the branch was for and what it was intended to do, Vivian Harsh understood that many folks were coming up from the South in spaces where they did not have access to literacy, in places where they were not allowed to go into the library because the city itself was segregated or under Jim Crow laws. So coming to Chicago and saying, here's the expectation, we are imagining a future where here's a place you can come and learn everything you need to learn in order to fully participate in the civic life that is happening up here.
And I think that is, like, as we sit here and we talk about this, it's just amazing that, like, how anybody can say anything negative and all the negative stuff that's, like, with this kind of history, and I know you're going to see the B-roll, or you've seen the B-roll already, but it's right here in front of us. This is, like, literally, like, the plans of them talking about what they envision, a Chicago Public Library for black folks to be like.
And you know what I love? I love that it took one person to be like, this is needed and we need to make it happen.
Just do it.
Like just one
Yeah, sorry.
This is needed. Well, I mean, no, it is that it is someone looking around, acknowledging conditions and saying, let us do something to change these conditions. So the manner in which she did work, which was deeply about working with community, and is essentially, the work that we're doing with the archives and special collections here at CPL in general. It really just follows in the footsteps of the vision that Vivian Harsh had, but that she relied on the assistance of many people to help get that going. Yeah. So the building itself, she envisioned was actually a grand gathering space, and something that looked beautiful on the outside, and said, "You are welcome here in this space. This is for you." Yeah. The other item that I chose is a photograph from one of the very first Negro History Weeks, because among other things, Ms. Harsh was a consummate networker, and she knew all of the scholarly and literary folks of the day. So she was very good friends with Carter G. Woodson. And Negro History Week, when it first, shortly after it was first implemented, was being celebrated at the Hall branch. So this is a photograph of young people who are engaging in what was that first Negro History Week. And this was not necessarily the first, so this was 1944, but what you also see, and again, this is about that intention and that vision, was that Vivian G. Harsh did also insist that you come into this space of learning with respect. Right. Now for her, and in that time and in that era, that meant if you were coming in to study about this history, that you came in looking nice. Maybe you had on a suit jacket. Maybe you definitely were very well behaved. Right. The historian and activist Tim Black had told stories in the past of how Vivian Harsh used to shh him in the library, like young man.
Yeah. I love it. Could you imagine being shushed
by Vivian Harsh? So yeah, just a really, the idea and intention that here are all these young people, because who you can also see in this photograph is Charlamagne Hill Rollins. So you have these young people at the Hall branch, and it was very intentional to say, it is important that you also learn this history. It is important that we are also including and engaging you in this act of knowledge production, scholarly creation, and knowledge sharing here in our community about our lives, and in ways that weren't just steeped in pathology, but that were also about joy and celebration and art and music and Yeah.
And what's really cool is, I don't think you understand, the first Negro History Week, which eventually became Black History Month. It started right here in Chicago, and this is a picture of the first.
This is a picture of Negro History Week as it was being celebrated and after its implementation. Yeah, that all great things, yes, are started here in Chicago, but that this was one of the perhaps greatest things that was started here in Chicago because the impact is so broad and so deeply meaningful when it is engaged with. Yes, because we have cleaned our hands.
We washed our hands.
We have washed our hands. So we're placing it gently.
Yeah. Look at this, y'all. Like, look at this.
I'm gonna move my face out of
This is a literal picture from the first.
Not first,
one of the first Black Negro History Weeks. Like, look at that. It's just amazing. Oh my God! Look at me put this down. Let me put that down. Like that.
Yeah, that's
like
scary. I wash my hands, but I don't want to touch anything.
I'm like, so we went to Egypt, and she was like, "No, I don't want to go inside the pyramid." I was like, "Let me go, let me go."
I have always, I can't lie. I mean, there is for some people who work with archival material, there's certainly an aspect to like the materiality of a thing. You know, as you're touching it, and this is extremely old. You know, print. There is for some folks, yes, it's the material, it's the experience you have with it.
Yeah.
I think what's really special about the work that Vivian Harsh was doing here at CPL and Charlemagne Hill Rollins and the folks who were staffers at this branch is that they understood that it was even more than just having access to the books.
Yeah. Right.
It was that you needed to create a space where people could come and discuss ideas and feel included to be discussing these ideas, quite honestly, with a high level of sophistication. I mean, that was the expectation.
Right.
And those librarians helped create the conditions to meet that expectation by providing access to materials that everybody could use if you came to the public library.
And that's Chicago probably the best place to start something like this because, as we know, Chicago Public Library started because of the Chicago fire, had books donated to us. Granted, it was donated to us, maybe not the Black folks, but.
So actually, it is interesting. It is an auspicious time to have this conversation because Chicago Public Library is celebrating its 150th year. We are one of the oldest public library systems in the country, and certainly largest. And so I think looking at the work here and the vision, I think it's just an example of a lot of the ways in which Chicago Public Library was out in front and was, had staff who were thinking in really forward-thinking ways about how can we be more inclusive of all of our communities and create the conditions so that even more people can be involved, not just here's a space you've come into and I've given you a book, but now I've given you a book and here's also a room in which we can now go and have a conversation about that book. And here are some artists who can, tell you about the writing of that book. Someone like Gwendolyn Brooks, who would show up all the time, or Langston Hughes, who was sharing his work, or Richard Wright, who,
goosebumps.
I think, her absolutely, her engagement with people like that. Or the work of people like Dr. Margaret Burroughs, who had significant engagement with the Chicago Public Library, but also helped start, as we know, the DuSable and the Southside Community Arts Center. The nexus of those folks and their involvement with the Hull branch and with the programming that Vivian G. Harsh was helping pull together and creating and facilitating and making that space for. That's what makes the public library more than just a place for the books.
Even today, I think, the Chicago Public, it's one of our favorite city things that we often use. People don't know that you can get, if you have kids, you can get access to most museums. You can take free classes. You can there's career building classes. There's so much that it offers that is not books.
Right.
It's wild to me that people don't use it.
And the coolest thing about it all is that you walk through here right now, you can see folks in here in different rooms and doing exactly what you just talked about, having conversation. And
there's actually book clubs that
are absolutely
part of, you could be part of a library book club.
Vivian Harsh had a women's reading circle back in the day, and the women would meet at Hall Branch, and yes, here is this space that we are making to discuss literature, to discuss art, to discuss social and economic issues that are a part of our community, and we want the opportunity to comment on those things. It's what we're hoping to help excavate more for folks in this 150th year. Chicago is an amazing city, and our archival and special collections that document that. So yes, we have Harsh, this vast representation of Black life in the Midwest. We also have the Northside Neighborhood History Collection, where we've documented quite a bit of immigrant life, documentation, population shifts, and then our special collections and preservation, which is downtown, which holds a lot of the city records. We have quite a few, but also holds things like our Chicago Theater Collection, and holds things like other political collections. So obviously it's the Harold Washington Library Center. We have Mayor Washington's political papers, which at this point in history, looking back on them, have incredible historical relevance. Just understanding the ways that Chicago history is vast and touches very many things. And people in this city do not have to be studying or affiliated with anything. They can come into the library, they can come into the archives and learn about all of this history.
What's really cool is the fact that we have, we're here with all this right now, right? We're here looking at it all, it's laid out, and I'm just amazed. But what's even cooler though, not only we'll get to what's here, right? But like how Vivian Harsh collected it all. A lot of times she went to these places down south and said, hey, let me get this. One thing in particular as we talked about is the Green Book. And the Green Book is just amazing. If you all don't know about the Green Book, go ahead and check out the little link right here. But it's really cool because that book explained how Black folks should move. And she went and got that, and it's here.
So there have been copies of the Green Book. So to be fair, many people would have copies of the Green Book. Because the Defender would publish it every summer. My own grandparents who would travel, they had a copy of the Green Book that they would use because, absolutely, you would be driving through places. Maybe you would need to stay at a certain type of inn if you were down south. Places were not the same way they were up here in Chicago. So being able to travel that way, absolutely. But what she would do was collection. So what we call that is collection development, collection management. So as she was looking around at this need and also helping implement things like Negro History Week here at Chicago Public Library, she also understood that you have to keep collecting those materials in order to essentially meet like whatever contemporary research need was happening at the time. So absolutely, she would travel on her weekends, she would travel on her vacations, and she would go, meet. Basically, she was meeting people in the places that they were at and saying, I am building and developing this collection about Negro life here in Chicago. Would love to have your work be a part of it. How can we, how can we talk about this? How can we help get your work here among the people? A collection I saw this collection very recently. And the only reason I'm not saying the name is because I want you to come back and ask me about it.
We'll come back. Don't worry.
But a truly fantastic collection where therein was a letter signed by W.E.B. Du Bois where he's saying, when's the next time I can get here to Chicago? You all are doing some tremendous organizing here on the ground. What's good?
We'll be back. We'll be back.
So just think the fact that those things are here, and what we're attempting to do now really is move through what those collections are so that we can start making sure that people know about them, getting them cataloged, moving through everybody has a backlog. Everybody has a backlog. So we're just looking to try to move through ours as best as we can so that people are aware, we have some tremendous histories to share.
And what's cool is that it's always here because you can't technically check it out.
You can't check it out. You can make an appointment and come see it. We say appointment because things like this, as they're in the folders that they're in, it just takes us time to go through the folders. So if you give us a call, you can generally get an appointment within a couple of days after that, once we know what you're looking for. But absolutely, you don't have to be working on a fancy paper. You could say, I just really want to know. I just want to see it. I just really want to know.
Exactly what we did.
You can also be working on a fancy paper and say, well, I really need to see this for, such and such purposes. So certainly, I mean, a lot of the things I showed you today came out of our either Black Renaissance collection, which does represent a spectrum of like events and organizations and people that happened during that time that Vivian Harsh might have been a part of or related to. But then it also comes out of like the actual Hall Branch collections or Vivian Harsh's papers. And those things, they're special certainly, I think, for folks who are interested in imagining what the future of libraries can be, because we have the evidence here of what it already was, what it currently is, and just a basis to imagine some new and different places.
That's a bar. Whenever you do something like that, you gotta end right there.
Yeah.
Like you gotta end right there.
We can't add anything.
Stacey, if you could tell people like what times you open, how they can book, and things like that.
Absolutely. So first things first, go to our website, shypublive.org. Shypub.
Is it live?
I say live because it's short for library.
Yeah.
But this is the thing that happens. This happens with librarians all the time.
Yeah.
There's like absolutely a user tool that folks have to live, and they have been beefing about lib or live for a long time.
It's live over here.
I'm giving like wild tea right now. Like, yes, wild librarian tea in these streets. It is. I pronounce it live because I know it's short for library.
LIB.
Yeah, so LIB. CHIPUBLIB.org.
Oh, download the app.
Yes, or download the app. And on the website, we've actually recently reorganized some of the collections related to studying history on our website. So check the website. We have a new tab on the menu, Chicago History and Collections, so people can find the vast resources, including events and programming related. There you can also find the contact information for each of the 3 archival repositories that we have in the system, and make an appointment to go in.
And everything is free.
Well, yes, it's free because we're the public library, but you do not need to spend any money or give us anything to come in and see these amazing historical materials and exhibits.
Y'all get out here.
Get out
here.
One last thing that I really love is using the archives of the library, like looking up pictures of things that have been archived. We do that all the time.
All the time.
And every time it says like it's license free, we put that in the podcast.
Public domain.
Yeah.
But things that are in the public domain and things that people have opened up their copyright for, because this is the last little tea I'll share. The reason that everything isn't all online, that we haven't digitized it all, is because a lot of stuff that got collected at a certain point in time, it's under copyright. Right. The library is not the creator of many of the materials that we store, so therefore we don't have permission to put certain things online. Right. So a thing we're also doing as of recently is working with donors to share kind of what that means in terms of an expectation for, people say, well, I want it digital, I want to see it online. Right. So we have to then work with donors to say, okay, what is in your collection that you have the right to let us put online? Asking a different question.
I think that's even cooler though. Like it forces people to get out here. Like get out here. Like
come on out.
Come on out
and just ask the question.
Yeah.
That's the door opener.
That's literally how we found it. We were eating, and they said the Green Book, and we were like, "What is that?"
This site was in the Green Book as a hotel, and I was like, "It was."
What?
And then we were like, "Well, we're right down the street from
let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go see it." And then that's when we learned you had to like make an appointment, all that kind of stuff, and
we didn't have an appointment.
We did, but they were so nice to be like, "Hey."
They still let us in.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, they were so nice to let us do it.
Yes, we try to be. It really. We would encourage people, because that really is the thing too. I mean, there is history here, and I think in a lot of ways people do not feel as though they have access to it or that it is accessible to them. So this is here, this is accessible, and people should be excited to learn more about their history. We've been doing it for all this time. We want to do it for another 150 years. Like, let's keep going.
We will.
Let's keep
We
telling
will.
these stories, sharing this history.
Stacey, thank you.
Thank you.
So what did you learn? So there's a quiz now. So take your phone out of your hand and just get a pen and paper. And let's talk about what you learned. Very dope. Thank you to the Chicago, the Woodson branch library, and thank you to Chicago Public Library. So for letting us go in there and take a look at a lot of cool things. It's really cool because we also saw and held the pictures of the first Black History Month.
Before it was a month, when it was still a week.
A week, right?
Yeah. What was it called?
Negro. Negro Week.
Yeah.
I believe it was. I can't.
Yeah, from the first meeting. That's what it was called. It was there's a picture from the first meeting and the people that were there.
Yeah,
super cool.
Crazy. Also, the video, we will put the video as the lead video on our page again, so that you can kind of see on YouTube. So go check out the video. Sad thing about the video is that remember I lost a lot of footage.
I know.
Man, we a lot of the footage.
We lost the guest footage, right?
Yes.
Or it was like either
it was one of the two. I can't remember, but which showed a lot of us holding the documents and things like that. So crazy. But it'll be up there for you to check out. And this Thursday, we will be back with another episode.
Yeah. If you loved this one, please share it with someone you love that needs to learn about this collection and about what their local library is doing and all the important stuff that they have access to. If you did not enjoy this episode, that's all right. Check back next Monday for a brand new episode, and we'll see you Thursday for that midweek check-in.
Yeah, buddy.
Peace. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode, and we hope you loved it.
And if you could, please follow us on social media at 77 Flavors Shy on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter.
If you have any ideas or deep dives that you'd love us to do, please contact us at media@77flavorsshy. That's the number 77 flavors and shy for Chicago.com.
If you like visuals, please subscribe and follow and watch us on our YouTube channel at the same thing, 77 Flavors Shy, or search 77 Flavors of Chicago.
If you would like to support us monetarily, go ahead and click that Buzzsprout link in the description of this episode.
And as always, we gonna see you next week. Peace.